Hi guys, and welcome to Tools to Create a Better Life with myself, Glenyce Hughes. Thank you so much for listening in or watching, however you are accessing this. I am so incredibly grateful for each and every one of you. So, does helping help? And I know that that's a big topic for many of us, something that I did for years and years and years. Really, I would say from this reality, it's taught. That's the nice thing to do. That's the right thing to do. That's what you're supposed to do. That's the kind thing to do. If you even consider somebody might need your help, you just jump in and you do it. That's nice. And yet, does it? Is it? Does helping help? What is helping? So, depending on the situation, what you want to be really aware of is how much judgment it actually takes to help. I know, right? Now, it's different if somebody phones you up and says, hey, I need some help moving my fridge. Can you come over? That's a different sort of what I'm talking about. This is more of when you see somebody struggling, let's say, with something, and they're not asking you to help. It's what we call in Access Consciousness, the superior bitch or bastard, where we just jump in and we have this superior energy that we know better, that they're struggling, so we should help them. What if that's actually really unkind? Now, what you could do is say, hey, can I assist you? Can I help you? It doesn't mean you just sit back and ignore them. That's not what I mean. But make sure you ask a question. Questions are empowering and answers are disempowering. So if somebody is struggling, what we might see as struggling with something, if you just jump in and help them, you're basically giving them an answer. So what if instead you start asking, like, hey, can I help you with that? Do you need help? Is there anything I can do to contribute? Like, however you want to ask it, but actually ask, please. Now, again, I often joke about having Academy Awards in superior bitchdom because it's something that I have done so well for so many years. Now, the kicker with it really is, guys, is that superior bitch or bastard isn't wrong. It's actually a capacity that we have. And what happens, though, is that we utilize that capacity against us when we just jump in and help, even when we're not asked. It's really what I've come over the years to become aware of is to ask the question. So truth, if I do that, will it create the future I desire or decay the future I desire? And for me, my awareness can show up as like a light or a heavy, or I just have a knowing with it. So that's what we're looking for, is what is it going to create? Because every time I jump in and help somebody where it creates less, ultimately I'm giving them the message that I'm superior and they're less than. Yeah, there's a lot of energy on that. So we're going to run the Access Consciousness clearing statement to clear up all that energy that's coming up. So right, wrong, good, bad, all 9, pod, poc, shorts, boys, and meons. For more information, you can go to theclearingstatement.com for how it works. Just know it's magic. It's magic how amazing it works. And so this is what we do, is we are often, at least in my case, I was constantly sending out the message to everybody around me that I was superior and they were less than. And yet, if you would have asked me, I'd have been like, no, I am less than. And, there would have been all the stories and all the ridiculousness. And really, when we help, when we jump in, when we save, when we fix, when we do for when we're not asked, we are sending the message that we are superior and they are less than. And again, use your own awareness with this, okay? It's not always black and white. And a lot of times it is from this superiority. And so right now I'm facilitating a foundation, and we were talking about this morning, and it's such a it's such a big topic for people to really get the sense of allowing people to choose what they're choosing. There's people on the planet, believe it or not, that have the point of view that they have to struggle. So if they have the point of view they have to struggle and you jump in and fix it for them, it's not going to be received very well. So if you instead allow them to struggle, if that's what they would like, and you can say, hey, would you like assistance with that? And they say, no, thank you, then cool. They've chose, you've chose, end of story. Yeah. I believe I shared this on another radio show, so you might have heard me talk about this already, but in case you didn't, my niece, my 10-year-old niece this summer was struggling to move a wagon, and there was a bike in her way, and really she just needed to move the bike first. But, you know, as we do sometimes, we try to be the bulldozer, and so she's struggling with this wagon. And I was so thrilled with myself because I just watched her. I didn't watch her from, wow, she's struggling and it could be easier. Like, there was no superiority in my world at all. I was just aware that she was choosing to struggle with it. But I didn't have a point of view about it. I didn't think I needed to fix it. She wasn't asking me for help. If you know her, you know she will ask you if she needs it. And so I'm just sitting there where there was a group of us sitting around, and my mom was like, Glenyce, get up and help her. Like, as though I was being lazy by not. Which then really actually contributed to me, because I was like, wow, I'm excited that I didn't just get up and do it. Like a few years ago, that would have been where I would have operated from. And so I just said to her, hey, would you like some help with that? And she said, no. Okay. So she says no to me. Mom's like, Glenyce, get up and help her. And I was like, but Mom, she said no. She's like, I don't care. Get up and help her. And I was like, oh man, this, and my mom isn't wrong for this. She's being a good mom and a good grandparent from this reality. And I, in this world, was being a very bad aunt by just sitting there. And then, you know, kind of went on for a little bit longer. And I'm like, I am not going to help her if she doesn't want it. And then she looked at me and she's like, Auntie, can you help me? And so I got up and helped her. But it's like, it's that. How many times do we just jump in and fix it? And until she was ready for the help, it would have been very unkind for me to choose it. Now, I know it's such a basic example, and who the hell would have cared if I'd have just got up and moved the bike? I mean, big deal. And yet it was such a great gift for me to really acknowledge how far I've come with all of this. Because we're really taught, I was really taught, I can't say you for sure, but I was really taught that that was the right thing to do, to be the helper, to be the fixer. And often it would be done, I would choose to do it, so I don't mean I'm a victim to it, but I would choose to do it even at my expense. So even if I ended up being late for work, I would help. Even if it meant whatever, it didn't matter, like my expense. And so if we got to look at that for ourselves of like, what works here? What works for me here? And you know that I don't know that it's called a quote, but I see it kind of as a quote of like, you know, you can give a man fish, or you can teach him to fish, kind of like that energy and sense of like, really, if I gift her the space to ask for help when she's ready to ask for help, then she will learn and be willing to ask for help, where I wasn't taught that. I wasn't taught to ask. I was taught to jump in and do it. And I definitely wasn't taught to ask for it. So I would jump in and fix and help and do all those things, but I would never consider asking for it from somebody. So then there was always this kind of one-way energy. I would do, and there would be no receiving in it. And so really, if we're willing to let people ask and give people the space to ask, how much more can we contribute? But if we're always helping, again, how much judgment is that? If you've decided that someone needs help, what is that? Like, I would get curious about that. Like, what is that? If that person needs my help, what is that? Now, again, different if they ask you, and there might be some situations that you could go, no, this makes sense here, that's fine. But generally, what we're doing is we are superior bitching or superior bastarding people around us. And we are infinitely aware, guys. So you probably do have the awareness. I did, as my mom did, as everybody sitting around with us had the awareness that someone moving that bike would make it so much ease for my niece. But us doing it until she got to that would have been unkind. And I have a radio show from years and years ago called The Unkindness of Kindness. Because again, this reality is so backwards with what kindness actually is. Because I was taught to be kind was to do everything for everybody all the time. And it's not kind. It's not kind to them, and it's also not kind to me. Because where is my choice in that? Yeah. And it's not about being unkind either. It's not about sitting back going, well, I could help you, but I'm not going to. Like, it's not that. It's really just the awareness and the infinite caring of allowing people to choose what they're choosing with no point of view. So I truly did not have a point of view of her struggle. Again, I was just so surprised by it that it was like, okay, that's a choice. And it wasn't even that I was sitting there thinking that, like, oh, she's choosing to struggle. It wasn't like that. But I would have normally in the past had that, like, oh, she's struggling and I should help her, and I'd kind of have to walk through it in my head to not be the superior bitch. And this time there was just none of that. It wasn't until my mom was like, help her. Like, would you like help? No. Okay. Yeah. And it can just be that ease where you could just ask a question. You could just ask the person, hey, would you like assistance with that? And if you get a no, cool. Okay. Let me know if you change your mind or whatever it might be. But also really being aware of the energy that you're being with that. Because we also can be like, would you like help with that? Which is still kind of like the superiority energy. So just like, what if you could be the infinite caring for everybody, including you, which means you have no point of view about what the choice is. You're being the infinite allowance. Yeah. Now, that also doesn't mean you be a doormat. So if somebody around you is doing something that doesn't work for you, you still get to choose for you from allowance. If you have, I don't know, you live in a city and you have neighbors and they're playing really loud music at 2 a.m., you have some things to do. You could talk to them, you could phone them, you could text them, you could call the police. There's probably some laws or something there. Like there's things that you can do, and you can do them all from allowance. But if you do them from like judgment, then it gets really icky and all of that. But if you're like, hey, this just doesn't work for me. What choices do I have here? Oh, I'm just going to call the police and get it shut down. Cool. How's it get any better than that? So when you're looking at this for yourself, when you're maybe a self-proclaimed superior bitch like I am and have been and still can choose, of course, then you want to just start looking at that question I was talking about earlier of like, will choosing this, whatever this is, will choosing to help this person create the future I desire or decay the future I desire? And I know a lot of times, at least what I hear from people in classes and stuff, is that they forget to ask the questions. And so maybe if this is a big topic for you, maybe this is something you need to put as a reminder on your phone app or something, or a sticky note, so that you are reminding yourself to even just be aware of when you're jumping in. You can also ask your body, show me when I'm helping. You know, show me when I'm going to that energy, when I'm saving, when I'm whatever word might match the thing that you do, when I'm being a superior bitch, when I'm being a superior bastard, so that you can start getting a sense of it, so that you can actually, in that moment of it, you can choose. Now, you might, the first few times, you might actually take the action and jump up and help, and then go, oh, shoot, I forgot to ask. But don't worry, because once you do that and you forget a few times, you'll eventually start to remember. So it might not be the perfect result the moment you choose to change it. And that's the way that I think it is with all of us. I mean, look at, for myself, I started learning about superior bitch when I started studying the tools from access consciousness in 2011. This summer, which was 2020, 9 years later, maybe I'm a little slow, whatever, but I would say this was the first time that I could really say that I was aware that she was struggling. I didn't have a point of view about it. I didn't jump up and help. It was so easy for me Now, it could also be because of the whole interaction with my mom and, telling me to help and all that. It could be all of those pieces, who knows? But I really just wow, I'm not sure I've ever had ease. So 11 years of choosing to be it less and less and less and less. And also with it, the willingness to be it. So we don't want to make it wrong. Superior bitch, superior bastard is not wrong. These are capacities. If I was walking across a street and I saw a car coming and a kid was running in front of me, I would stop the kid, which would be definitely a superior bitch, choice, because I'm impeding their choice to continue to run, and I would be willing to do it. There's times in my classes that I'll superior bitch people and be like, hey, why don't you all run bars on each other? Because it'll make the class more ease for me and for them, but I will maybe have to not have to. I choose to invite them to do it because I'm aware in that moment they're not going to, but it's still a superior bitch choice. No, of course they could still say, no, thank you. That's totally up to them. But just don't make it wrong. Okay, these are huge capacities that can be such a gift to all of us when we be them from the energy of what's going to create greater here. Yeah, so everything that brought up, we just start and create it all, return to sender with consciousness. Right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, but box shorts, boys and beyonds. Yeah. So what energy, space, consciousness, choice, magic, miracles, mysteries, and possibilities can you and your body be to be the infinite caring that you truly be? Anything that doesn't allow that to show up as if by magic, we destroy and uncreate it all. Right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, box shorts, boys and beyonds. And so this is really just the energy of getting what true caring is for you. Not what you've been taught, not what this reality tells us, but what is true caring or infinite caring for you? Yeah. And you can even look in your own life. You've probably had people who superior bitched you and you resisted it. Like, even if it's the most brilliant piece of information or advice or suggestion, if somebody is telling it to us or forcing us to do it, we will fight back. We will resist it. We will not choose it because of the energy that is, rather than if they asked us to question. And this is really, really, like, even if you have young kids and maybe they're tying their shoe or something, if you just jump in to tie their shoe, look at or be present with all of what you're energetically doing there, which is the information that they don't know how to do it, they can't do it, they're too slow, they're not good enough, they're not smart enough. I mean, there's all the stories that we add. Instead, you could say, hey, would you like some assistance with that? And, I get that, yes, I don't have kids, and I'm also aware of the kids that can be like, no, and they might take 30 minutes to do something that might put us behind. So you could look at, okay, what works here? So maybe you give them a little bit of time and just say, okay, if you don't get it this time, then I'll go through it with you again so we can get going. But it's just a different energy rather than just jumping in and doing it. Yeah. So everywhere that's been done to you, all of the superior bitching and bastarding that's been done to you, and all of the superior bitching and bastarding you've done, will you just destroy and create it all, return to sender with consciousness. Right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, box shorts, boys and beyonds. Yeah. Yeah. And there's a whole section in the foundation manual about like compassion and empathy and help and things like that again, this reality says are the nice things or the good things or the right things. And yet, have you ever chose to have compassion for somebody who had more than you? No. Have you ever chose to give money to somebody who had more than you? No, not likely. So this is where we talk about, this is the judgment it takes to be compassionate. You have to judge that the person needs compassion. What if what the person requires is infinite caring, which means, hey, if you're going to choose that, you're going to choose that. Okay, cool. No point of view. What if we could be that infinite caring for ourselves and for everyone on the planet. Yeah, rather than the judgment of, oh, you're less than, or you're suffering right now, or poor, poor, pitiful you, all of those energies because we get the energy of what that creates. Okay, so we've got, let's say a person is, let's say the person had somebody close to them die. Okay, so just get, you probably have a memory of that where somebody in your life had somebody close to them die. So we can either jump in and help them and fix it and pour them and, oh, how are you doing? And how are you going to get through? And oh my goodness, this is so tough. There's that energy. Or there's the infinite caring of they're going to choose what they're going to choose. And what I often say with people going through grief, and this is from my years of experience as a professional medium. Some of you may not know that, but I worked for 10 plus years as a professional medium. And what I heard from pretty much every person was they just wanted people to shut up. They didn't want to hear another suggestion, another piece of advice, another, oh, I'm so sorry for you. Oh, this must be horrible. Yeah. That's not what people, again, you know the person in front of you, so follow what you know, but really being aware of what does the person require. Most of them just would like somebody to be present with them, to be there, to shut up and be there, and sometimes to listen. Sometimes they need to talk about something. But it's from that infinite caring of allowing them to be where they are, not forcing them or demanding of them or manipulating them into something else. Just being there. And I mean, I'm talking about somebody who's gone through, a death of someone close to them, but you could probably utilize that in many situations. Most people aren't interested in your advice for them or your suggestions for them or your help even. It's really the level of presence and allowing them to know that they know, whatever that might look like for that person. Because it's going to be different for every one of us in every situation. And then we go back to the question thing where you could say to the person, is there anything that I can do for you? Ask them. Don't just jump in and do it. Now, again, every situation is different. So if, you're at a friend's house and they've had someone close to them die and there's dirty dishes around and they're, dealing with other family or that sort of thing. Yeah, maybe you just do the dishes. I mean, it's not like you have to just sit back, do nothing. That is not what I'm talking about. You just want to be present with it. You could even ask them, hey, would you like me to do your dishes? You could. You'll know. I mean, come on, But it's really, really, really being present with and aware of all of those places where you're doing it unconsciously and anti-consciously. So unconsciously means you don't know better, and anti-consciously means you know better and you do it anyway. And so either of those. And just the willingness to ask the question, either of that person or even of yourself. Truth, would choosing this right now create the future I desire or decay the future I desire? And of course, when I talk about asking questions like that, we're looking to be aware of what the response is of which one. So for me, I talked about, there's a light or a heavy, or there's just a knowing. Everybody and how they read their awareness is a little bit different. So you just want to be aware of that and kind of play around with yours. And I find it often changes too. The more consciousness that I choose, the more that I use these tools and clear stuff, how I read my awareness changes. So you do want to be aware of that so that you're just kind of never looking at it through the same eyes. You're just always present in that moment when you're asking the question of which one is it in this moment, in this 10 seconds. Yeah. Awesome, guys. Thank you so much for being here and for everything that you be on the planet. Again, I am so incredibly grateful for each and every one of you. And come and play somewhere. I mean, right now we're still kind of a little limited on travel and stuff, so a lot of my stuff is online, but come and play. Come and play online, or if I've got some in-person stuff and you're around or you can get here, come on. I would love, love, love to play with you. So have a great week, guys, and I look forward to chatting again next week.